Before there were too many people, you were hard to type too.
Well, I can see that. Hi, Janice, how are you? I'm well. I was talking about it earlier. They say you have seniority around here.
Oh, yeah.
There?
They're there.
So, I was thinking this book is that's fine. Whatever. I'll do that's fine. Yeah.
They've got you for community time, and I got the email this week.
Oh, okay. They told me I was reading the what's it called, announcements.
Yeah,
Is that what you're supposed to do?
yeah.
I don't have that.
I don't know.
Are you feeling the move?
Yeah, I can do it.
A well-run machine.
I can do it.
It's sort of like
So,
I struggle. Check that off.
okay.
So you're active duty in this issue? No, I'm reservist. Yeah.
Open my heart.
I did almost 8 years. It was very odd for because I already got to the chaplain basic course. Majority of my class was actually prior services, the active duty, for the most.
Okay.
Out of a class of like 100, you might have like 20 people that were prior service. Everybody else is, I'm a minister, I want to go do the thing. Yeah. I'm a soldier, I want to be a minister. Yeah, well, yeah, it was a very odd amount of people. They hadn't had that in class, which was very fortunate. Trying to go backward, like at the beginning of COVID.
Okay.
It was like areas that we all know, but they were pretty sure they're gonna say. And so it's like, okay, well, y'all still need to learn some basic army stuff, so like we were taking turns teaching each other. Okay, because you had prior service, yeah. There's been a bunch of instances where they don't carry it out. Oh yeah, it would have been.
Okay.
I never served. Served in the military.
not from a different drawing, but wasn't very good student, I would have ended up with my transport to lucky, on a contract, so didn't make it into the list. Interesting sense. Wyoming is probably very safe for business.
Yeah, I can see that.
So it's actually cultural and much more corporate than our cowboy. You like to wear cowboy boots? Of course. Cultural. The reality is, railroads and companies, giant speculators.
Yes.
Teaching. Don't go sign up for the other side of the
Yeah.
It's a nation unto itself.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wyoming thinks it is, but it's not big enough. It just doesn't have the mass. The managers do it where it's
Yes.
That's I made maps. Political history of maps and things like that. It's just terrible because it's all very colonial. Like, I want this piece. Let's just talk. Okay, that's my piece now. What do you want? And then we look at like geographic, better boundaries and things like that. Actually using here for that. And we also and that's part of like what confused like why there are two different Carolinas where it's split. Partly political, partly geographic. We should not have these very boxy states and some things. Some should be larger, some should be smaller. Move to the left.
It's going to places and there's a place for people. You can see how somebody approaching the spot.
Yeah, that's
This is one of the parts of the West where sorry?
The what?
They're usually welcome.
There's stuff over here now.
Yeah, there should be a copy of everything there and a copy of everything.
I got the script this morning.
You got your stuff.
Shared, so I'm working on my phone.
Okay. I'm just that's something really good. I'm not gonna choose to.
We do. Just tapping on it when I first got here. Make sure I knew what to do. It works lovely. Just don't hit it on the rim.
Yeah. I think for the most part, this should be exactly what here, so if we need to, I can leave that.
This works.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
And then I'll come back in and That's fine. Poor thing. Yeah. Responsive. Whatever it is. There we go. Come, whoever you are, whether you're joining us online or in person, whenever the last time you went to church, whomever you love.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Cheyenne, where we are building a community of refuge, where all have equal worth and are invited into spiritual exploration as a foundation for hope, compassionate service, and action.
This is a place where questions are encouraged.
This is a place with room for all of who you are.
This is a place full of works in progress.
This is a place for being human together.
Welcome. It is good to be here.
Settle in and exhale. This is time for community.
Yeah.
I'm not Randy Basden. My name is Lauren Danley, and welcome this morning. And I'm a member chairperson of your Committee on Shared Ministry. And I'd like to welcome you to church this morning, where shared journey find meaning, connection, and community together. If you're new to us, please consider filling out a blue visitor card so that we can share information about our activities and events and help you find what nourishes your spirit in this community. You'll also find note cards in the pews for writing down joys and sorrows to add to our pastoral prayer, and there will be an extra basket coming around to put in those joys and concerns. You can also write do not share if you have a concern or need to share with the minister but did not want it spoken aloud. Another way we create connection and meaning in this community is through the activities and events that happen in our building and in the community beyond our walls. And let me tell you about a few of those things that are coming up. So today, potluck dinner. Yes, join us in the social hall after the service. Yes. Living Generously, our team that's, they want your pledges, and we need to get them in so we can figure out our budget for next year. And because annual meeting and budget and all of that's coming up. If you haven't pledged yet, please go ahead and do so. Friday night is family fun night here in the church. And I don't know, is there anything special we're doing this week?
Yes, it's gonna be fabulous. I'm talking to
Come
the
on up.
microphone. I always forget that's going to be a thing on this mic. I am sorry. So Family Fun Night is actually fabulous this Friday. We are partnering with the ACLU on the creation of a Know Your Rights guide that is specifically helpful for GLBTQ folks. And so we're going to be learning a little bit about our rights and having pizza and putting those booklets together. And then I believe there will also be a movie and a piñata. So we are having all the fun on Friday. You should definitely come out.
Thank you. And then after partying on Friday night, then on Saturday night, Lori McGill will be chairing our Camilla dinner parties, and she'd always love to have extra people come down to the Camilla shelter and help with that dinner party. So things are happening. We also are asking everyone to help with paper products for coffee hour and potlucks. Bring in plates and cups and glasses and all of that stuff would be wonderfully welcomed. So, and now we have a representative from Bethel Outreach, who is our Share the Plate partner this month. And yeah.
Okay, sure. Thanks, Lauren. Carol Jean Bongo, did you want to come up? Oh, we've got the true voice. All right, well, welcome up.
Thank you. Greetings, everyone. I'm Roy Howell with Bethel Outreach Ministries, and I just wanted to, thank you for the invitation to come speak to you about our mission, and also for your past contribution. This isn't the first time that we've received resources from you guys, and we appreciate it. So just a little brief history. Bethel Outreach Ministries is a small nonprofit faith-based reentry assistance program. We're 100% volunteer, which can be challenging at times. Bethel was established by Reverend Clinton Lewis and Pastor Dan Monson in September of 1997. The name was chosen by Reverend Lewis, now deceased, in remembrance of his childhood church in New York City. Our mission statement says that we exist solely for the purpose of extending a helping hand to those people released from local jails and state prison systems, and afford them an opportunity to become productive citizens in our community. Our program description: Bethel provides reentry assistance to those released from incarceration, including mentoring, housing, transportation, cell phones, bus passes, work clothing, tools, and agency referrals, etc. So that's pretty much what we're all about. So just as an example, this past week, we donated 2 cell phones to inmates at the halfway house downtown, so that they can get employment. And we also contributed funds to help an individual graduate from the Camilla shelter into a shared living space. And then finally, this is an unusual thing, but I had the opportunity from someone that donated a car, which is rare, and I received an application of an individual that was in need of a car. He worked clear out at the Trustcraft, which is way out by Sierra Trading Post. It's a long ways from downtown. So anyway, so that we're facilitating that, and I met with him yesterday, and he gave me a little bit of his backstory. So while he was in prison, he's from Douglas, the mother of his 3 children got killed in a car accident. And so his children are with his parents now in Wisconsin, and he's fulfilling his sentence. He's got about 3 more months to go. So he told his dad, "I'm really in need of a car, Dad." And his dad kind of chuckled and said, "How are you going to accomplish that?" And he says, "Well, I'm going to pray about it and see what happens." And it must be a God thing that this all come together, because it's not something we normally have available. So, but I know it's to the right person, and I know it was divinely appointed for me to work with him on that. So that gives you a general idea. You know, it's a hard mission. Not a lot of people care about those people. But they pay their dues, and a lot of them want to try to get back into society, and it's not easy because they get dumped in the street with the shirt on their back and said, have at it, you know. If they have family support, they have a better chance. And actually, I like the fact that they come out of the halfway house, because the halfway house gives them a chance to get on their feet. It provides them housing, helps them find employment, and by the time they are released from the halfway house, then they've got a better chance than the ones that are just coming straight out on the street, because we really can't provide housing unless they have a job. A landlord isn't going to rent to them anyway, and some of them fit the model for Camilla and some don't. So it's a real challenge. It's always a challenge, but we've been around a long time. We're a small organization. We don't have big grants or anything like that. We get a little bit of funds from United Way, which is earmarked specifically for housing, and the rest of everything is from folks like you, private donations. And so we really appreciate your contributions. Thank you very much. And I have some brochures that I'll leave in the counter for you too.
Super. Well, thank you. And as we gather each week in person and on Zoom, it's also where we gather our resources to sustain the work of this church and share our abundance with community organizations like Bethel Outreach Ministry. You can find the address of the Realm app for online giving in your order of service, or your Share the Plate offering and pledges may also be dropped in the baskets now as they pass, or at the end of this rear of the sanctuary at the end of the service.
Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. It's just like a lucky penny, hold it tight and you won't have any. Spend it, lend it, and you'll have so many, they'll roll all over the floor. 'Cause love is something if you give it away, you give it away, you give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. Money's dandy and we like to use it, but love is better if you don't refuse it. It's a treasure and you'll never use it unless you lock up your door for. Love is something if you give it away, you give it away, you give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. So let's go dancing till the break of day, and if there's a piper we can pay. For love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. Love is something if you give it away, you give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more.
With so much darkness and strife pulling us apart, it is easy for our goals and intentions to become lost. But when we gather in this space as a community, may we remember the strength and solidarity we share, because the odds will always be in our favor. And now, if you will join me for the opening hymn, I invite you to open your great hymnals and rise and embody your spirit for number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are.
All right, so we know this song. We're good at this song. We're gonna do it once together, and then we're gonna try it as a round. So we'll do side one, going first, and side two, you'll follow behind. I know that. All right. You feel good about this? Come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, whoever you are, come, whoever ours is no caravan of fading. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come back, whoever you are, wanderer, worship, whoever of glory. Ours is no caravan of fading. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come back, whoever you are, wanderer, worship, whoever of glory. Ours is no caravan of fading. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again come.
We'll light our chalice this morning with a reading from Thomas Bach. Today, wherever in the world you may be, we are united in sharing this moment together. This flame makes the light shine brighter for all of us. If the young and young at heart would like to join me on the chancel at this time, that's up here in front of the altar. We invite you to share in the leadership of speaking our covenant in unison before our time for all ages. And then we'll go into time for all ages. Nobody's feeling young at heart. Oh, well, there we go. All right. Got one volunteer this morning.
Okay.
So, all right. Okay, so we will read our covenant together. It's found in the inside cover of your order of worship. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its cause. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth, and to help others. Thanks.
So, I'll join y'all. Make it a party. oh, okay. Maybe not.
But not a close part.
Okay, fair enough.
We'd have fun.
Fair enough. Okay. So when y'all gather as families, communities, what's some of the stuff that y'all do as activities? And this is open to everybody to eat. Anything else? Sing. What else? What are the important things that you look forward to when you're gathering?
Board game.
Awesome, I love it. Well, I just want to tell you about a little bit about my childhood. So my parents, my mom was a military spouse. My dad was just coming off of his own Navy service, and they ended up in Texas. And when I was growing up, my dad was an electrician, so I got to go with him all over the city because we didn't have a lot of money, and that's our childcare, is me going with him to work. And so where we lived, because we didn't have a lot of money, was a trailer park, predominantly Spanish speakers. If anybody spoke English, it was other kids my age. Adults didn't know it. But going with my dad, I got to go see the Russian neighborhood where my dad did lights for their supermarket. I got to go over to the Chinatown, Asian market, all these different places. I got to see how other people were living their lives and being in community with another, whether it's telling stories or buying food. And that was a little hard for me because my mom's family, which has been the most important to me, they're Native. And it's a couple different kinds of Native. Part of the family is from Scandinavia, the reindeer herders and the fishermen community. Some of them immigrated over to the United States a couple hundred years back. And then the other part of her family, they're on the reservations in Montana and South Dakota. I'm growing up down here in Texas, all by my lonesome. How do I get to interact with them, engage in those important things, the songs and the food, the games? That was very difficult for me. And I finally found an outlet when I was at the end of middle school. It's Texas, sports is a thing. I don't know if anybody's ever known that. And I tried football. It was not for me. All the starting, the stopping, too many people on the field. I don't know what's going on. I ended up joining the lacrosse team. So for those that don't know, lacrosse, it's a stickball game. You have, depending on what your position is, you have a stick of varying length with a little pocket on the end that you use to catch and throw a ball. And for those that aren't aware of the history of lacrosse, we primarily take it from the Haudenosaunee people, which are the Iroquois Confederacy as they were most recently known, but they have insisted on this is their name, and we respect that. But a lot of other nations have their own stickball type games. My family that are of Blackfoot enrollment, they had their own stickball game. The Lakota, they also have a similar stickball game. And when I got to talk to family, and I let them know, hey, I'm playing lacrosse in school, that opened up conversation. Even though it was on the phone, I got to hear some of the stories. I got to hear some of the songs and the rituals that they would have as they go to community gatherings. Because for them in the traditional game as it was played, game is not really the most accurate translation, but it's what we're going with today, because it was also a way to overcome arguments. It was a way to gather. It was a way to deal with a lot of things was in these gatherings. And so I got to hear about these things. I got to take pride in something that I was doing. And I know that for my friends, it was just a sport where we got to take huge sticks and beat the biscuits out of each other. But for me, it was something more when I got to share that with family. So, and I hope that next time that you gather with the important people of your life, you remember the things that you look forward to and that you can share them with others as they join your community. Thank you for coming up here with me today. I don't need it. And now I would like to invite you to join me in a time of prayer. Great mystery that exists within and beyond. We gather to be with one another. We hope to support each other and be a comfort in these hard times, to celebrate the joys and excitements of our celebrations, to dwell together in the wonder and the mysteries and uncertainties of this magnificent and changing life. And we hold in our hearts what is going on here in Cheyenne. I know that there has been a recent violence that has happened in the community and that we're still healing from that. And even further beyond, we have violence from the system, from within families, because people are of a different race or gender identity or any other aspect that is important to them. We're still healing from that. And then also we lift up the celebrations as we go forward. It's getting to be the end of the school year, and I'm sure some people are very glad that they are moving on. And of course, we know that some things, even though we're experiencing them, we are having big feelings and big thoughts that we can't really name them or give them voice. And we will hold those together with us as we move forward. From the spring to the summer, we recognize that the earth and ourselves are living beings that need rest in addition to activity. We give thanks to this and hold room in our hearts and our spirits for the joys and the concerns and the things that have yet to be shared. May we find in this space, in this peace, in this comfort, in this community, that they hold us. Nunjwe and blessings be.
And now please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our hymn 1013, Open My Heart, which is in your teal hymnal.
This is a responsive and meditative hymn. We'll sing twice through. Open my heart to all that I see. Let me be part of the love you give. Open my heart
To all
that I see.
let me be part of the love you give. So we have today a centering reading, Together in a Sacred Space, by Lorelei Greenwood Jones. You should find this in your order of service. I'll be reading the opening, and then you'll be responding where it's marked congregation. Makes sense. Okay. In this sacred space, we need not be alone. We seek a listening ear, a warm heart, open arms. Sacred space. We are a community of individual beings living our own lives, yet coming together now and then in joyous celebration of spirit and one another. Here, joys are shared and sorrows comforted. We are seen and heard and believed. We are a gathering of like-hearted people, and here our hearts are filled. We hear the wisdom and counsel of our ministers and that of one another. In this sacred space, may we find what our spirits desire and what our spirits need. May we be grounded in love and sharing. In this sacred place, may we find acceptance and consideration. May our actions and words echo the word in here.
We have hit the end of the college application season, and with more options than most applicants ever knew about or ever will know about, it's important for institutions to be creative in how they reach out to the prospective students and PhD researchers and even the faculty. Because it's a little difficult to have a program if there's no faculty to teach the classes the students are showing up for. So some are particularly noteworthy and others are and then others just stick with us for years. Just an image in our brain randomly. It's like, I remember that. Not sure why. And St. Edward's University, it's a private Catholic university in Austin, ran a creative series of billboards for a couple years when I was in middle school and high school. The one near my high school displayed some ants carrying food along a branch back to their colony. And superimposed on the foreground was a student sitting in one of those little desk chairs. And the large text right next to this person read, "Study Supply Chain Analytics." It's certainly thoughtful, and it got my attention. But the most memorable one for me was on the billboard between the storage facility where my dad used to run his electrical company out of and the vet hospital that we took our pets to. This ad was about studying religions in America. And it might have convinced me to stay had I not been so dead set at getting as far away from Austin as I could. Religion at this point in my life was more of an, ooh, neat appeal rather than I need this to be the entirety of my life, as it is now, kind of. And in hindsight, I kind of wish I'd gone with ooh, neat, because I really struggled in my Japanese literature classes and linguistics classes. I got terrible grades, I'm not gonna lie. And this is because languages do not simply embody what they are describing, but also the how and the where and even the when. So seeing a 15-foot tall advertisement of one football player leaping into the end zone while another is trying to stop them really emphasizes the where and the how and the when that are the words and language we use. And were I in any other place, I'd like to think Wyoming is probably more on this than other places I have talked about this at. I'm sure somebody is wondering, how is American football religion? Please explain this to me, because that does not make sense. And it may surprise some people that there is no real solidly agreed upon codified definition of what religion actually is. We have some very good ideas that we've put into the Oxford English Dictionary and other resources online, but I can tell you after watching them that there are disagreements even still at the American Academy of Religion from time to time about what a religion is and who is allowed to be one. Dr. Victoria Harrison from University of Glasgow published The Pragmatics of Defining Religion in a Multicultural World in 2006, and it highlights just how difficult that is in this world that we are living in. The more precisely we focus on the definition, the more exclusive it becomes. I mean, we can see that in other scientific laws and various other principles, so it's not that much of a leap. So the traditions that began with Abraham could fit a proposed definition as we try to refine it more and more, but those that began in other parts of the world, such as Buddhism or indigenous traditions, both of which I practice in my family, these could get left behind even though they are practiced with the same sincerity. And it is easy enough to agree on a definition when you're at a seminary where everyone has a clearly defined faith that is the same, is intending to go in the same clearly defined job after they graduate. Everything is exactly the same. Yeah, I'm a glutton for punishment, so I went to an interfaith institution where everybody came in with different ideas and most people had their goals evolve as they graduated and ended up going into something different. I'm probably one of the rare people that stuck to it because a lot of my military chaplaincy was really emphasizing that. So having these graduate level conversations at that institution meant coming together on a definition that we could all work with. So religion, as we agreed it was, is a system of meaning-making bound in community, expressed through ritual behavior to make life bearable or better. And with regard to that, ritual is a prescribed action crafted with meaning and intention that affirms or strengthens someone's role in a community. So nowhere in that, either of those definitions is there mention of sacred texts or even how you might name the divine, all things that get thrown out as flags on play when people want to referee our lives. In fact, it actually opens up possibilities of what can bring us together, what we can believe in, and what will get us from today to tomorrow to forever. And there's a series of articles that actually kind of illuminated some of this. They're published in the latter half of last year. And they include the work of postdoc researchers and others who are looking into how secular and even social communities are fitting these commonly accepted definitions of religion. Professor Jody Eichler-Levine, who I found most often mentioned in these articles, teaches religion at Lehigh University and talked about how Disney superfans are in themselves a religion. People go to celebrate their birthdays, they go to propose and marry, and they even have memorials. Now, I live about an hour away from Disneyland at my home in Pasadena, but I can't afford the time or the money to go. But I can find a fitness or sports group within a stone's throw of my house that not only fits my schedule and budget, but also my desires and my ability, which is starkly different from some of my family members. And they can find something that fills them and gives them community. Switching to rowing in college and later rugby in the Army were about finding community that made those days bearable, and some of them were not bearable, I can tell you that. So learning and partaking in the unique and even absurd traditions helped affirm my place in college in that special operations team. And even more so, there are people that their lives revolve around their community that they have chosen. The names and stories of important figures can be discussed without hesitation. Events and other important dates are considered before adding anything new to the calendar. Purchasing books, clothing, even getting tattoos are impacted by the community that we're a part of. And when it comes time to pass on from this material plane, some of that community will be with us, even if it's only in spirit. Yes, there are people that are this committed to sports, but there are people that are just as committed to Unitarian Universalism. Yeah, I'm staring at y'all in the front row right here. They sincerely hold to the meaning and intention at the core of our values and rituals. They can express how and when of our shared faith. Now, I did say that languages also describe a where, and location is very much a factor in both cases. I used to think that it was a huge shock when I moved from Texas, where tailgates were ostentatious with loud music and paint and food, and particularly meat, I should say, to Washington State, where no one was rowdy when I was working at Husky Stadium as a student, and I was offered cocktail shrimp, and people were playing rather subdued music. Very strange. It just sounded not right in my head. But I can tell you even more of a culture shock was moving from Washington congregations where they had a Buddhist and pagan personification to New York, where it's a very traditional Christian style of Unitarian Universalism as it was originally created, to California, where we have lots of humanists and other types of theists. It might be the same language, but we're all saying something differently. And sharing in that language, being able to kind of code switch between all the different ways that Unitarian Universalism expresses itself has allowed Reverend Elizabeth to actually join in your community in a way that does not require a lot of explanation. They are already familiar with many of the rituals, much of the shared history. They're able to act on that and even so much more. Now, this is where the sports metaphor really breaks down, if it hasn't already. It's because to equate Reverend Elizabeth to a coach is a disservice. Yes, they embody that leadership role, but there are also times when there's so much more, such as a trainer devising a schedule for religious education, but it's more on you to get what you need out of it. There are times when they embody the publicist, and they're making sure that everybody from here to the mountains and beyond knows about an event. And when you let them know, hey, I'm actually going to do that thing that we discussed, but I'm super nervous and a bit scared, they become the whole cheer team and half of the fan section when they respond, would you like me to aggressively cheer for you or silently encourage you from afar? So ministers like Reverend Elizabeth are joining established congregations just as those coaches and trainers and other staff join sports teams, and they work to make them better. But it's not a one-way avenue. You've both made a leap of faith on this new adventure together. Continuing safely each day requires reinvesting yourselves sincerely in that journey, sincerely practicing the rituals and other aspects of this faith, of this Unitarian Universalism. And we're not the only ones that recognize that we need to make this sincere reinvestment. International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach, same one, from the same speech that we actually got our chalice lighting from with only a slight alteration, said that this solidarity fuels our mission to make the world a better place through sport, only because of this solidarity can we be together tonight. Without solidarity, there is no peace. As you see, we had to do some slight adaptations for the chalice lighting, and we would have to do some slight adaptations for this, but it's very much Unitarian Universalism, what we come here for. And if I didn't know any better, I'd swear the Olympics were Unitarian Universalists. They light a giant flame, they affirm values, do an activity, and then they extinguish it and they tell you, hey, it's not over. Carry this mentality, this spirit on until the next time we light the flame again. And we're not just saying these affirmations and doing these things because they're in the order of service. It's because we actually believe them. We actually invest ourselves into what those values are. And we see that also in the Olympics, Special Olympics, the Paralympics movement, even the Youth Olympic Games have expanded to make it more inclusive. And we are working to make Unitarian Universalism more inclusive, not only at our congregations, but also in the wider association. And I'd like to hear from y'all about some of those things that might be making our movement, our faith more inclusive. I'm going to ask the peanuts from the preacher gallery to hold off for a second and see what the congregation has been aware of. What is making Unitarian Universalism more inclusive and more expansive?
Defining values.
All right. Awesome. Anything else? Woo!
Outreach program.
There we go. Yeah. So these and so much more, such as the work of Drum and Blue, all of the youth activities that I missed out on because I was not a UU at the time. These groups, these movements are making Unitarian Universalism better. And they start in the congregations and move out. They start at our larger General Assembly and move into the congregations because we are a beloved community that interacts with one another. I know we uphold congregational polity and say, well, we can do our own thing within reason. And it's with intention and with deliberateness. Now, I'm not asking you to go out and get a chalice tattoo. And if you do, there will be a handful of people going at General Assembly, so don't worry about it. But we are a system of meaning making. We're building community. We're holding intention and we're doing it day by day. And it takes an affirmation each day to be tied to this land, to be tied to this people, and to make life a better place for today, tomorrow, and even the next 7 generations. So, Nunjwe and blessings be. And now I invite you to rise and body your spirit for the singing of our closing hymn, 131, Love Will Guide Us, and it can be found in your gray hymnal if you'd like to follow along.
On the road from Greece to
Please remain standing as we extinguish our chalice flame and speak together the words in our order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry within our hearts until we are together again.
May we continue to share in the moments that deepen who we are as individuals and strengthen who we are as a community for today, tomorrow, and the next 7 generations.
And as you know, we have a potluck next door and all kinds of food in there. So I want to encourage folks to join us for coffee hour and a potluck in the social hall.